What was the most unbelievable thing your neighbor has done? Our neighbor T and his wife M were our friends for many of the 12 years we've been on our farm. We used to socialize occasionally and I still consider her a very good and close friend. They got married when they were quite young and are now in their 50s. About 6 years ago, it was discovered that T had been having an affair with M's brother's wife. The brother found them actually at it on T's desk at his work one day. All hell broke loose. M and T's kids were already in their 20s and 30s, but T had apparently fathered a child by this other woman. The child was 3 at this point. Then it came out that the affair was a long-standing 10-plus year arrangement. So the woman's marriage dissolved and the children, the oldest only 13-ish, were reeling and the extended family horrified and appalled, and the brother is bitter and the littlest kid is torn between two daddies. Eventually, the dust settles and M decides to forgive T and stick with the marriage of 28 years. After all, one should try to save a marriage after that many years of investment, right? Things carry on and the gossip mill grinds to a halt, and then about 2 years later she discovers them having secret meetings in the bush on their farm. All hell breaks loose again. The affair never ended. In fact, he's been promising to marry her. M decides this is enough, after a lot of support and perspective from friends who have advised and helped her, and calls him on his crap and tells him that if he doesn't end things immediately she's asking for a divorce. In a fit of rage he gets violent with her. Not sure if there was a history of such, it's entirely possible. And then one day he threatens to leave her and she calls his bluff and he packs a bag and leaves her on the farm alone. But here's the kicker. Some of this came to light only on his departure from the farm. 5 years previous, he had forced her to give up her job and work on his business admin. He had hidden and diverted all the income from the business, and never paid her any money for the work she did. Despite her begging, he'd not bothered to take care of her failing vehicle. It's not like she had any means to do it herself. And conveniently forgotten to pay for any electricity supply to the property. He had borrowed money and manipulated his oldest son into covering his butt on defaulted payments of very large windbuys on industrial equipment and gotten himself into very serious trouble with a bank. They were married in community of property, which means the banks could actually hold her responsible for his dirty deals. Essentially she was left alone on a farm. Within weeks she had no electrical supply, or water because she had no electricity to pump water from the dam to the house. No security. He kept removing any locks she placed on the main gates and house gates to secure the place. She had no food, no money, no job. Her car was broken down and she was expected to still feed the pets, and he kept coming back every day and stomping around the house denying her access to certain parts of it. He locked areas of the house, and denying her the right to privacy, or to lock the property up or in any way secured for her own safety. He essentially put his wife on house arrest, denied her food, water and security. He removed her access to an electrical supply, finances or a means to attain them, as punishment for telling him she wasn't going to allow him to continue to cheat on her. Please tell me what kind of sick, perverted asshole is this? Luckily I was just a few hundred meters away and I helped her secure a lawyer, food, some money to live. I helped her get access to her own property that he had locked away and got handy with some boxes and storage space so she could move her own stuff away. My husband got assistance for her situation with electrical supply. He was in the electrical field at the time, and I helped her find a job and get her car to a mechanic. Happily now, she is on her own, divorced, and working an amazing job at a local school, and she smiles way more than she did when she lived next door to me.